So ahead of the big game later today, obviously Liverpool taking on West Ham. Big opportunity for West Ham, you feel, depending on the teams, of course. We did that. We talked about it yesterday in our preview for this. But there's a few bits of news going on around the club at the moment. There's a few bits and pieces. So rather than us sort of do separate videos, we thought me and Riley would get together and we'll just talk about a couple of the big sort of topics that are going on. This has really come directly from ex-WHU employee on Patreon. But firstly, mate, Riley, how are you, mate? How are you feeling today? And are you feeling a bit confident for later tonight? Has your confidence changed? Because in your preview, you were the Grinch. You were, no chance.
Wow, unbelievable. Listen, I'm realistic, all right. I've got to try and keep my wits about me, and yeah, I mean, if you want to put it down to, I'm a little bit ill at the moment, and maybe it's just a bit of rash thinking. Maybe I wasn't thinking properly. Maybe I should be going more along the lines of the merry Mark Carlaw instead.
Yeah, there you go.
Got merry Mark Carlaw, and you got Finch the Grinch. It's a good combination across the Christmas time. But listen, mate, I'm buzzing for the game. Be nice to watch us on telly as well. I think that's always a positive. I think you always get up for that as well. I think even the players probably get up for that a little bit. And I think, again, like we said before, this is kind of a free hit. If we go to Anfield and don't get anything, then I don't think anyone can blame anyone as long as we're just going for it. Then yeah. But look, I think it's an exciting time. I can't remember the last time we got to a quarter final of a competition, and obviously last time we did get this far in the competition, we bloody won it, mate. So
well, no, it's a good opportunity, isn't it? It's a good opportunity, and we've had a taste of silverware now, so obviously from last season. So let's go for it. Why not? There's no reason why we can't go and get a result. And no, I'm feeling pretty confident about tonight. But let's wait and see. A couple of things I want to talk about. I mean, kind of relates a little bit to tonight because a little bit of team news. Mikel Antonio is not fit. He's still not in the team and not in the squad. Although the reports are from ex-WHU employee that he is back in full training and has been for a little while actually, but he's just not quite ready for match fitness. But they're saying he's likely, Riley, to be available for the Manchester United game. And then will probably be on the bench for that game. But I mean, look, he was out of form before this injury. So, and let's be honest, we haven't really missed him, really. I know it's not a horrible thing to say to Antonio. He's a big player for us and a great servant. But ultimately, we've got a very good thing going on at the moment with our front three of Paqueta, Bowen and Kudus. We're starting to see that click. But I don't think Antonio have any problems with that. At the end of the day, that is life, isn't it? And he hasn't done enough, has he, to warrant coming straight back into the team. But I will say, though, I think we've missed him in some regards because it is nice to have that option when things aren't quite working to say. And let's be honest, we haven't really seen ever, really, have we, of Antonio being that impact sub that I think he would be great at, like those last 20 minutes, half an hour, you go, just get out there and bully and try and nick a goal when we need it. Are you pleased to see Mikel Antonio back amongst the squad, mate?
Well, Mr. Podcast himself.
Oh, yeah. We'll get him on soon.
Yeah, listen, I think that, like you say, he's probably more of an impact sub player these days. He kind of plays second fiddle to Scamacca a fair bit. And, I think he did his role well. And, he's our top scorer in the Premier League. He's a great player. You can't argue what he's done for the club. And, the transition as well. I mean, I don't know why we don't just buy a striker and keep with them. Apparently, we like to buy wingers and convert them into strikers. That's a lot better for us. But look, I mean, my question would be, if Antonio was fit at the moment, what would be my pecking order? Obviously, Ings is like, right down at the bottom of the pecking order. And I think Bowen is probably cementing himself as first in the pecking order at the moment because it allows us to play Kudus as well, which you can't, you want Bowen and Kudus to be in that team. You can't allow one to be in there and not the other. So I think he's number one. But in terms of Mubama and Antonio, mate, where would you say Antonio ranks in terms of the pecking order? Does he rank above Mubama, or would you rather see Mubama come on at the moment as opposed to Antonio?
I think because Mubama's got that, academy graduate feel, he's the academy graduate, so you kind of want to see him, and he's the future. At the end of the day, Mikel Antonio isn't the future anymore. That we know that he's kind of his days at West Ham are numbered in effect just because of his age. But I still think he's got a lot to offer. I do think. I mean, you know, let's bear in mind that he did start this season very well. Scored some goals and looked in very good form. He's just, unfortunately, he's just so inconsistent, isn't he? He isn't clinical. That's his problem, and it always has been his issue. Like, he just isn't clinical enough in front of goal. You know, you look at, I know it's very difficult to compare because you look at Mohamed Kudus and Bowen, how lethal they are in front of goal. They rarely miss. You know, they get a decent chance, they're going to tuck it away. Antonio, even with a really good chance, it's very much 50-50. And that's always been his downfall. But that's not to say he doesn't do a lot and offer us a lot, because his hold-up play is excellent. He can really bully defenders. He's so strong and powerful. And when he's on it, you know, as you like to refer to beast mode, when he's in that beast mode, mate, he's untouchable. You know, I mean, teams dread to play against him. So I still think he's up there as a choice. Like, I still think he sits behind Bowen as our option, but he's probably there with Mabama, isn't he? But ultimately, I'm actually quite pleased. I think let's be honest, it's always good to have our player full strength squad. So it's good to have Antonio back. And I think and the other thing as well, he'll probably come back quite hungry now. He'll know he's lost his place. He'll know. And the last time out, he wasn't happy about losing his place. But I get the feeling this time around, he probably won't be so angry about or upset about it, because realistically, this is his teammates. He's known Bowen for years now. He'll be, I'm sure, quite happy to see him doing well. I don't think he'll walk in and expect to be given this, there you go, there's your spot. He'll know that he's going to have to work hard to get his that shirt back. But I don't think there's any problem for us, mate. And the fact he's back in training is a good sign. And we've not rushed him back, because typically we do, don't we? West Ham have got a habit of, once the player gets out the old mechanic, the protective boot comes off, we're like, that's all right, he can play. He'll be all right. Chuck him out Saturday. We can't risk him. But I think now, because we've got these options that we do have available now, we don't have to rush Antonio back. So it looks like we've taken our time with him. So look, it's good news. I don't think it can't be seen as anything other than good news. Another bit of news, though, mate, it did come out from ex-WH employee, which was very interesting. And very good, I thought, is regarding Edson Alvarez. So the reports are from X that at the Crystal Palace game where we drew 1-1, apparently Edson Alvarez was incredibly angry with the team and their performance, and made it very vocal and did basically a bit of a passionate speech in the dressing room. Apparently it went down well, gave basically a bit of a rollicking, dressed out a few players down for their performances and etc. And basically showed a real desire for the football club and wanting to win, and couldn't accept, and was talking about standards and all these things. Apparently, a very passionate speech he made. And mate, we see it on the pitch from him. This hunger and that grit about him. He's that Mexican, isn't he? And just there's something really nasty about him, and I love it. I like that. What's your thoughts on that regarding hearing that he's given everyone a bit of a bollocking, basically?
Well, I mean, look, I think everyone needs the hairdryer every now and then, as it's been coined in football, and I think you do need someone to turn up and say, we aren't good enough. But my question is, mate, is why is it that the player doing that is a player who's just come in this summer, a player who's basically been at the club for 2 months? You've got players there who are supposed to be real leaders, like Kurt Zuma is the captain of the football club. Soufal, Souček have been there for years. Fabianski is a veteran. Jared Bowen as well. He's like a long-term project. Why is it that the only player who's come in and given an absolute bollocking to the players is a player who's been here for 2 months? I mean, that's kind of worrying in terms of the sort of makeup of the squad and the dynamic between them. But obviously, that's just me, putting on my journalist hat, trying to read between the lines a little bit. In terms of the actual event itself, I think it's brilliant to see a player step up like that and feel like he can, be vocal in that way. And also, it just bridges that gap between the fans, doesn't it? If you feel like he's outraged and upset by what's going on, then as a fan who probably felt the same after the Palace game, it's nice to see a player share that with a fan. Probably see it from the fan's perspective. So, he shows a lot of tenacity on the pitch, and I think he probably shows that in the dressing room as well. And it's good to see the two in good merriment.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I think for defence of Zuma, that was the game where he wasn't at the ground because he had his house was burgled. So that's when you remember if Mavropanos played, so he wouldn't have been there. So maybe that was one of the factors that he sort of stepped in to be the captain, maybe, and just vent his frustration. So maybe that's the reason. But I quite like the fact, one, that he's got the confidence to come into a club. He's only been here 5 minutes and to sort of be like that. And I like the fact he's a winner. I think that one thing I've always noticed with teams that have done well over the years, you look at obviously Man City, obviously in recent years have been very dominant. Obviously, you look at the old Manchester United side for the 90s, with incredible that team of Arsenal, the Invincibles, where they just very, very good side. They always had these leaders, didn't they? They had all around the pitch, like big characters. You had your David Seamans, you had your Tony Adams, abundance of players, didn't you? You had Pires, you had Bergkamps, and like all these players that were just so good, Vieiras and things like that. And I've always look at these things, I think, God, like it must be so great going into these dressing rooms where you look around the pitch, think I can trust him. Like they are going to go out there and pour blood, sweat, and tears into getting a result. And I just like hearing that we've got a character like that, because that's what it sounds like. We've got someone that's going to go, do you know what? I might not be captain, but I'm not just going to go, oh, well, 2 points dropped, shrug the shoulders and go home and look forward to my meal with my missus tonight. Like actually go, no, do you know what? I'm not happy with this. I can only be really pleased about it. And let's be honest, he's turning into that fan favourite, isn't he, already? I mean, he's come in, he's settled in great. He looks the part already. He comes across very happy. The fans connect with him because he always looks like he's trying. But I love the fact as well he's doing it behind the scenes. It's not like it's just a front and then behind the scenes he's not too bothered. So no, I agree with you, mate. It's one of those. It's got you're right. There are certain things. Well, okay, why is no one else stepping up? But it's nice to know that we've actually got someone, potentially a future captain, because obviously Kurt Zuma's appointment, it was a bit controversial at the time. We haven't seen enough of it yet. Whether it's going to be the best appointment, we don't know. But I mean, so far so good. I've not seen anything to suggest that it's a bad appointment making Zuma captain. But it's nice to know he's got others behind him actually that can take that up and is not frightened to say a few words. So no, I'm pretty happy about it, mate. We'll do a bit more of an update as well on the transfers this week. We'll have a bit of an update on that. But mate, look, he's two pretty decent stories, I think, to run with at the moment is what we're talking about. Antonio coming back to the squad, I think, can only be a very good thing. And the fact now we've got a player in Edson Alvarez that's hungry, wants to do well. The fans love him. He's let's be honest, he's been very, very good for us so far. And also, he's not frightened to say a few words to the players.
Yeah, no, I think, like you say, it's good that we've got those sorts of characters in the dressing room. I do hope that, more people do step up. I didn't hear anyone giving a rollicking after the Fulham game. And obviously that was the game that Alvarez kind of missed out on. So, I hope that other people do follow suit, because like I say, I think you need that sort of the person breathing down your neck. A fan can't get in that room and start shouting at the players, but a player can get in there and have the mindset of a fan and get that across to the players. And but to be fair, I think they probably get a hard enough time from David Moyes. I think he's probably quite a hard bastard, isn't he, mate, to be honest, with the way things that he says. So I could definitely imagine that the players probably don't need to get a word in when it comes to getting a little bit of
it's Scotsman, mate. Do you know what I mean? They don't mince their words, the Scots. You know what I mean? I'm sure he doesn't hold back when he wants to have a few words with them. So no, I agree. It's no, look, I reckon Moyes would like that and all. I think he'd like to have someone in a bit of an enforcer going, do you know what I mean? Let him do a bit of the bollocking for a change as well. So no, I'm well pleased with it, mate. It's good. It's good. Feel good factor. So look, this is we've got Liverpool tonight. Fingers crossed for that. We'll do our review tomorrow of that game, and fingers crossed it's a positive one. But look, let's wait and see. Come on, West Ham. Let's go and do it. Come on, you irons.